Hello YouTube, is Lion here with Hobbies Man once again, and today we are doing our monthly TBR video for the month of March. Now, March is an interesting month because I have spring break, so I have a whole week off of school in order to do whatever I want, right? And most of the time, whatever I want to do is usually reading. So this month's list is going to be slightly longer than usual. However, it's going to have a lot of volume ones, so it might not actually be that difficult to get through it. So like always, this list is what I plan to read, not necessarily what I am going to read. Although usually I do try to follow it as much as I can. So let's start with stuff that is carrying over from previous months. So I want to read The Shadow Rising. I've been wanting to read this for the last like 6 months, and every time I start and every time I stop, like pretty fast, because I just never like give myself enough time to get into the story, right? So Shadow Rising. Then I want to finish reading Perry Roden. It's been a while, and I want to finish reading Perry Roden because I've been also basically reading it, piecemeal wise, like for a long ass time. And I think it came out last July, and still to this day I have not been able to finish it. So I want to finish it before the next sci-fi month that we do on the channel, which should be May. So I want to finish it, review it, and then maybe review volume 2 or book 2 for the month of May. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do in May just yet, but I do have some ideas. So I want to finish Perry Roden. And then I want to finish reading JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2. I've been, stuck at 15 chapters. I might have to go back and start it over from the beginning. It's about 75 chapters, so it's really not that difficult to read. I should be able to read it pretty fast, and especially if I leave it for the spring break, I should be able to blow through it. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. Then let me kind of go through all of the digital stuff first, and then I'll come back to the non-digital stuff. So then I want to read Noragami Volume 1. I've had this in my collection, in my digital collection forever, like 2 years, and I've never gotten around to finish reading it. So I want to start it from the beginning and finish it. And then have Magus of the Library. Also, more or less the same. I think I bought it in the same time, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I want to finish reading this because I want to decide if I want to have physical editions of this or keep it digital, because it's very cool, very beautiful artwork, but I'm not sure that I care all that much about it. So I need to finish reading the first volume to decide if I want to have a physical edition or keep it digital. And then let's see, what else do I have that's digital? So I want to read both volumes of Barrage. This is by Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, and I want to read it. I've been eyeing it for a long time, so I definitely want to check it out for sure. And it's only 2 volumes, so it'd be pretty easy to read. I think it's only about 16 chapters, so that would be pretty nice and pretty fun. It's also vaguely sci-fi, but mostly a fantasy story as far as I understand it, so I'm pretty happy with that. It'll be cool. And the last thing that I want to read digitally that I want to check out is Hell's Paradise. Now, I was going to try Golden Kamuy, but due to some other things that I have on this list, I decided that Hell's Paradise might be better because it still has that kind of like vaguely historical fantasy kind of vibe, but it is not like a gun-oriented series like the one that I want to read physically this month. So I decided that would be kind of better to read this month, because if I read Golden Kamuy and this other series that I'm going to read this month at the same time, I feel like something might happen there and I might cross like channels and get confused, because they both kind of have like a somewhat similar like main character from the vague understanding I have of both of them. So yeah, Hell's Paradise, as far as I understand it, is like more or less a ninja story, but also kind of like this exploration story, but also this kind of revenge story as well. So it's very interesting and complex, and I'm really excited to check it out. And again, I'm going to read this digitally just because it's easier for me. And depending on whether I like it or not, I might switch over to physical, but I'll probably end up reading it all digitally first and then deciding to collect it later if I ever want to reread it or something like that. But it really depends. There's a lot of things that, unless I love a particular edition for, I probably will just keep digital. So I don't know. But yeah, that's all of the digital stuff that I want to read. Let's switch over to all the physical stuff. and then I'll talk about, a few things that I might want to read if I end up finishing everything for some reason. So the first thing that I want to read is Solo Leveling Volume 1. I have Volume 2 as well, so if I end up finishing this first one and have enough time, I'll definitely check out the second one, but I just want to compare it to the light novel, and I want to collect both of them eventually. I want to finish the whole collection for both the manga and the light novel, so this is it. I really love how this feels. It's just super heavy, but also not like uncomfortably so, like some of the old Dark Horse, like really nice editions were really, really heavy, even if they were like normal paper and soft cover. Like the Blade of the Immortal ones were so heavy. It was awesome. It felt nice, but it was horrible to read because like my wrist would start hurting from having to like hold it open, and it was not great. But this has like a lot of weight without feeling like too, heavy. So I like that a lot. Here's the first thing I want to read physically: Solo Leveling. Besides Shadow Rising. And then here's the series that I was talking about earlier. It's Isaac Volumes 1 and 2. Since this is only a 7-volume series so far, because the manga company that's releasing these hasn't released all the other ones yet, I might want to just go ahead and buy all the other 5 and just read the whole thing. But so far, I'm only counting on doing 1 and 2. And like I said, this is a Japanese man who happens to be a mercenary who somehow ends up in Germany during the 30 Years' War and is fighting against the Germans, if I remember correctly. I'm not exactly sure, but it has to do with like some sort of revenge or kind of like regaining honor kind of plot line. So I'm pretty curious to see how that ends up going. And I really just bought this because I thought the premise sounded cool, and also I really like the artwork. So there you go. That's Isaac. This is the reason why I didn't want to read Golden Kamuy, because it doesn't really look that similar, but just two Japanese guys with guns in like a historical setting just kind of felt like too similar to me, and so I didn't want to confuse the two and kind of like accidentally, mess up in my mind when I try to review them. So I'll try to, get around to Golden Kamuy sometime this month if I end up finishing Isaac relatively quickly. Then I wanted to check out Wanted. I bought this in Mexico over winter, and it's a short story collection. It's by Eiichiro Oda, and it has a bunch of different stories. Like it has, what's it called? Let me see if I can find the name of all of the little stories. So it has one called Wanted, which is kind of like a cowboy story as far as I can tell. And it has one called A Gift from God for the Future. And it has the Romance Dawn, like the original one. I don't know which edition of Romance Dawn this is, because if you guys remember, there's quite a few of them. And there's another one called Monsters as well. So I'm curious to see if they're any good. But I'm really excited about this. I haven't really touched One Piece in a while. And I am going to do a bunch of One Piece videos throughout this month to kind of, do all of the stuff that I need to do, that I wanted to do, just from the pre-post time skip, or pre-time skip stuff, so that I can start getting into the post-time skip storyline, because, it's pretty cool. And I think it's a pretty good place to stop and kind of just reflect on the series. So there you go. I want to get into Wanted just so I can kind of relive a little bit of that One Piece hype while I wait to finish up all of the videos I have planned before getting into the post-time skip era. So, yeah. Then, Mary Grave. I was originally going to leave this for Halloween, but I decided that was not the best idea because I wanted to read this relatively quickly. And I want to not leave too many things, open for like building up things, like building up manga, so that my TBR stays relatively small throughout the year, which is pretty good. I've been doing a pretty good job at it. And I've been kind of, keeping the TBR pile relatively small every month, even if I buy new things. So that's all 5 volumes of Mary Grave. It's going to be relatively easy to read. And this story is basically about this guy who's trying to find all of these different potion ingredients so that he can bring his wife back to life. Because him and his wife had been wanting to do this forever, and eventually they succeeded, but the thing was that it only worked for one person. His wife sacrificed herself and used it on him, and so now he wants to repay the favor, basically. And it looks really cool, and I like the artwork, and I'm pretty excited to see how good it is, because a lot of people like it, and this is actually really popular in Latin America, even if it wasn't popular in Japan, and it hasn't really reached popularity anywhere else. So that's Mary Grave right there. Then I want to continue with Saint Seiya, and here's Saint Seiya 3 and Saint Seiya 4. Now, the interesting thing about Saint Seiya is that, you know, it's split into 3 major sagas. There's the Sanctuary Saga, the Poseidon Saga, and the Hades Saga. And within each of them, there's like subdivisions, right? So there's Sanctuary Part 1, which is the Bronze Knights, which is divided into 2 sections, the Galaxian Wars, and then the Phoenix Ikki section of the story. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the Black Knights. And I was going to review, you know, Saint Seiya, you know, like part by part, but I don't have enough volumes of the story to cover all of Sanctuary, because Sanctuary is from volume 1 to volume 13. So what I'm going to try to do instead is, you know, review it by section of story. So I'm going to do part 1 Sanctuary, the Bronze Knights section, which should be almost all of the stuff that is covered in the first 4 volumes. I'll have to read 2 chapters digitally online somewhere, or, you know, through scans to record the video, but then I'll end up buying more of it because I want to read the whole thing, and I like Saint Seiya a lot. So I think that's how I'm going to do the reviews for Saint Seiya. I might just do Galaxian Wars first, but I basically covered Galaxian Wars already in the first impressions video, so I'm not really sure if I want to go over it again, but I'll decide that later and figure it out. But Saint Seiya 3 and 4, this should cover up to the end of the first third of Sanctuary, which is really nice, really cool. So yeah, that's Saint Seiya. Then I want to read more Yu Yu Hakusho volumes. So I have Yu Yu Hakusho 2 and Yu Yu Hakusho 3. And again, this is kind of a weird one to review, because the first section, the Spirit Detective Saga or whatever, is a lot more than what I have available to read. So I'm probably going to have to divide that into smaller arcs and just go through the arcs instead. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. But these are definitely a priority for me when I go to Mexico this summer. I definitely want to get more Saint Seiya, want to get more Yu Yu Hakusho, more Shaman King. And for now, I think that's it. I'm not really sure, but there's definitely always new things to pick up from Mexico every time I go. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho, it's really popular here in the US, and I really wish that they would print new editions of the story. I know that the normal tankobon size editions are still kind of available, and I think they reprint them relatively often. But I just think it's time for like a better edition. You know, Viz doesn't really do that well. They don't really like pick the best edition when they release things sometimes, usually because they release like as it's coming out in Japan, so that makes sense. But also with old series, they should really definitely release that like new nicer edition faster than they usually do. Then let's look at the 3 light novels that I want to read here. So first is Devil's a Part-Timer Volume 3. I've had this for a while, and I've been wanting to read it, and I think it's time to do so. I was going to try to read it during February, but I didn't get around to it, so that's basically all there is to that, right? Then Realist Hero. This is me trying to push through all of the physical TBR that I have from last year in order to kind of get rid of the stuff that I don't really want here near the end of the quarter here at the end of March, so that I can, you know, get rid of all the stuff that I don't want, get a little bit of cash, and buy new things that I do want for the collection currently. So that's why I'm trying to basically finish and rush through reading some of the stuff that I have left over from last year. So there you go. That's Realist Hero. And I don't really know too much about this one. I think it's about this guy who happens to get transported to this isekai world, and he's told that he's, you know, the hero of the country, and he's put in charge, and he decides to use like political and bureaucratic techniques to save the kingdom, and it's kind of interesting. So I think that's pretty cool. And then the last thing that I want to read here on the proper list is the Saga of Tanya the Evil, Volume 2 because I liked the first one. I thought it was pretty dry. But now knowing that, I feel like it's going to be easier to read the second volume, although this one is huge. It's very large for a light novel. It's like 400 pages, which is kind of insane. Most light novels are max 200 pages, so that's pretty crazy, but I'm really excited to get into it. I really liked the kind of historical fantasy element of the story. I thought it was really cool, so definitely can't wait to check it out. Other than that, I have a few things that I want to look at. Of course, I want to check out Golden Kamuy, if it's possible to get around to that story. I want to try to start either Dragon Ball or Bleach. I have already seen a lot of the first arc of Bleach, or the first major section of Bleach, but I want to read it and start like reviewing Bleach the same way I'm reviewing One Piece, because I just want to finish all of the big three and really decide, hey, which one is the best one for me, right? So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Of course, I want to finish reading Solo Leveling Volume 2. If I get around to that, I'll have a bunch of stuff that I want to pick up this month that I'll probably end up reading this month as well, like Mashal 5, Gunbird Sisters, I think comes out this month, Solo Leveling the Novel, Volume 4, and I want to start reading The Light of the Jedi sometime soon. Tentatively, the plan is read the first 3 novels in the High Republic, like the adult novels, because those are like the ones that I'm only interested in. I don't really care about the YA ones, but read all 3 of them and do some sort of like review of them on May the 5th, which is Star Wars Day, and then of course kind of do more Star Wars content during May, since it's going to be a science fiction month as it is. So yeah, maybe I'll go back and read the Republic Commando series and do a review for those as well. I'm not sure, but definitely want to do some Star Wars content in May, but of course I have to prepare a bit of it, beforehand. So yeah, that's basically my TBR for this month. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought, and let me know what you guys are going to be reading this coming month. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.